ready.
Welcome to another episode of Buff in the Rough. We're going to talk about rabbit hunting in South Carolina, rabbits and Christmas trees, and a lot more with Dalton Evans. Help me welcome Dalton to the program. Well, hey Dalton, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Buff. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your hounds. But before we really get started, could you just maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into rabbit hunting?
So I got into rabbit hunting. I think I was about 10. My grandmother was actually a mail carrier in the town we live in, and this man named Bobby Collins, she'd been delivering mail for years. They got talking one day, and he invited her and myself to go run dogs with him. And he took me out a few times, and I fell in love with it right away. And ended up, he became like a second father, and I traveled all over the United States with him to different hunts. Every weekend I was in the truck with him, Jeff Stacy, Coy Stacy, all those guys from up there. I mean, they pretty much became an extended family, and we just went on and ended up getting out of it when I was about 16 or 17. Started fishing and coon hunting, and done the coon hunting stuff for 2 years, and run competition hunts with coon dogs, and it just wasn't the same as the competition hunts with the Beagles, and I ended up calling Jeff Stacy and telling him what I was looking for, because I was wanting to get back into the competition hunts plus gun hunt, and ended up getting back up with him in 2025, and bought a few dogs off of him, and back at it ever since.
Very good. Yeah, that's a name I hadn't heard in a while, is Bobby Collins. That's a good one. I hadn't heard his name in quite some time. And true story, Bobby, I think the first hunt maybe that I ever went to was down at the Blacksburg kind of area down there, and I think he maybe was helping. He and his wife maybe were helping run that club.
Yep, it was the Broad River Beagle Club back then.
That's it.
Yep.
Well, that's good. That's interesting to hear. So you mentioned a lot of big names there, but who's been the biggest influence on you so far?
To be honest with you, I don't really know if I could just pick one. I'd definitely say it was Bobby to start with, and then Jeff and Coy Stacy. They were probably one of the biggest due to the fact that we were at the World Hunt up in Coshocton, Ohio. We were standing out in the parking lot of the hotel we were staying in, and Coy came up to me and asked me, because I'd been hunting Bobby's dogs for him because I didn't have any dogs, and Coy came up to me and asked me when I was going to start hunting my own dog and stop hunting everybody else's. And I told him, I said, well, Mr. Stacy, I'll hunt my own dog, when I can afford to get me one. And and then Jeff walked over, and they just kind of stood there for a minute and looked at me, and Coy said, well, you've been doing this enough and with everybody else's dogs. I think it's time that you do it with your own. And he handed me a set of papers and told me that Bobby had my dog at home waiting on me when we got back from the World Hunt. And so I would definitely have to say Jeff and Coy was probably the biggest influences to push me on into the world of competition hunting. They actually gave me my first dog to put me into the competition hunts with my own stuff.
Wow, that's a really good story. That's a very good story. Well, tell us a little bit about what it's like where you live. Like, what are the conditions like there, and what do you need in a dog to be competitive there?
So in South Carolina, upstate South Carolina, mainly what we like to hunt in and what we look for is short pines and the thickest briar patches you can find. We've got so many coyotes and predators down here. The rabbits, that's what they have to live in to survive. You got to have a dog that's full of hunt and full of grit and don't mind to get, cut up in the briars day after day after day, because there is no easy running down here. You'll go to, like, I've been to Ohio, Pennsylvania, all the way up through there, and it's more open hunting up there. But down here, I mean, you gotta have a dog that's willing to crawl on its belly to get through the briars down here to jump a rabbit.
Yeah, it's tough down there. It is, or it can be in some of those spots. Well, let me ask you this. Let's say this coming Saturday, you had a choice to make. And the choice is you could go gun hunting with your buddies or you could go to a competition hunt. Where are you going and why?
To be honest with you, that's a pretty hard question you asked there. Truthfully, I'm a competition hunter at heart. I enjoy gun hunting, but there's just something about going to a competition hunt. So I think I'd have to lean more towards going to a field trial, just for the simple fact that the people. I mean, it's the people is what keeps you coming back. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, what club you go to. It's the people. I mean, you can have terrible running and come back to the club and, joke around, chit chat, and just fellowship with the people. And it's like it's like a family at pretty much every club you go to around here. It doesn't matter, good running, bad running. If something happens on the cast, you come back, it's over, and you're right back where you picked up at before you left out.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Well, Dalton, I want to ask you a question that's maybe kind of a two-parter, and it's your favorite hounds. And maybe you have a favorite hound of the past, and then maybe a favorite hound of today. The one where you would go out to your kennel, and if you could only pick one dog right now out of that kennel, which one are you going to snap your leash on?
Okay. So this will be a two-part question because I actually have two hounds right off the top of my head that I can pick. The first dog wasn't even my dog. It was actually Bobby Collins' dog, and his name was Rocky Ridge Sonny. And everybody laughed at him. Everybody made a joke when he come out the dog box because he was long and his front legs turned in like a basset hound. But it didn't matter if it was 20 degrees or if it was 120 degrees. He was going to find a rabbit, and when he struck, he sounded like a freight train coming through the woods. And Lord forbid he have to run through a briar thicket because it looked like an elephant run through after he went through it. I chased that dog. I've chased that dog up and down the mountains of Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia. That was the most hard-headed dog I've ever met in my life. Because back then, we didn't have tracking collars. It was when when the 3 minutes was over, you just had to make a beeline to the last place you heard them bark. I can't tell you how many times I got cut up chasing that dog through the briars because he wouldn't stop. And if I had to pick a hound from the day out of my kennel, I'm gonna have to go with Stacy's Mountain Outlaw Dirty Black Colt. It doesn't matter if I'm going to a competition hunt or if I'm just going to run, that dog's going to be in my box every time I go. Me and that dog accomplished a tremendous amount last year. And our first, it was actually mine and his first year back into the competition hunt, and ended up making him a dual grand last year. And I actually finished third in the world with him up in Zanesville, Ohio. Wow. So it don't matter when I'm running or where I'm running, that dog's going to be with me.
Wow. Now, you said he was Stacy's Mountain Outlaw, so that's Jeff and Coy's stuff for sure. But tell us a little bit about him. Describe the looks, the mouth, how he hunts. I mean, tell us a little bit about Cole.
So his daddy is Stacy's Mountain Outlaw Diesel, and his mama's name is Brandy. He's a black and tan buck tricolor. He's got a real chop mouth on him. Super tight dog. He's He don't make many mistakes, and he don't normally bark unless the rabbit's up. Um, he hunts wide, kind of like a bird dog style. Like he's constantly moving through the woods, hunts big circles. Really just does what he needs to in the competition world. As far as he's not a super mouthy dog. Like I said before, he don't make a lot of mistakes, which is what helps him a tremendous amount. And he's got real good foot on him, so he's normally first or second in the pack when they come across the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I can count on him, and I can trust him with it. Don't matter what I'm running, whether I'm running just my dogs or I'm running my dogs and somebody else's dogs. If he goes in there and opens up, I know the rabbit's up, and I know they're on a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
I have 100% trust in that dog.
Boy, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. Well, as you've been out there hunting and campaigning, Cole, and you've hunted at the highest level, finished third in the world, so you got to see some of the best dogs in the country. Tell us about maybe some of the best hounds that you've hunted against, that you've seen out there, and ones that really caught your eye.
I've hunted against quite a few dogs. Kristen Bundy and Brett Hughes have a nice dog. Deep River Miss Independent, or Indy. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that dog. I've hunted against her quite a few times. I've beat her, and she's beat me. Well, the dogs have beat each other. And I really think, I really like the way she hunts. Very independent dog, but when she needs to be, she's going to be right there where she needs to be 98% of the time. Mm-hmm. I really watched her a lot, and I've been thoroughly impressed with her.
Yeah, that's a nice dog for sure. Very nice dog. Done a lot of winning with her.
Yes. Yep. She actually finished second in the world hunt last year. It was funny because there was two dogs from the same kennel per se. Kristen's kennel and then Jeff's kennel, right out of North Carolina, both in the top 4.
That's pretty strong showing from some southern dogs.
Yes, I thought so as well.
That's pretty strong.
I think Jeff ended up finishing. He was in the top. He was in the top 10 with another dog out of his kennel as well. So I mean, that's three. That's 3 dogs out of the South in the top 10.
Yeah, I think they got something there. Certainly, Kristen. If I remember correctly, Andy's brother Cooper has done a lot of winning too, and has been in that final cast at the World himself.
So Andy and Cooper are actually half litter mates to Cole.
Gotcha. Well, those are some good dogs. I mean, for sure. So I'm not surprised that you chose them. So I'm not asking you to give me secrets here, but do you have any? Is there anything special that you do to get ready for a big hunt? So there's a big state hunt coming up. Maybe it's one of the big 5s, or you're getting ready to make that run at the World. Do you prepare any differently, or do you just kind of do the same thing?
Honestly, I think I hunt a little bit different. Normally when we go run, we try to. Right now in South Carolina, it's so hot. I mean, it's 6:30 and it's still 94 degrees right now. During this time of the year, we pretty much running solely at night. It's a lot of night running, or we're up before the sun comes up and we run early in the morning, till right after the sun comes up. So sometimes we don't get as many miles on the dogs, get to hunt as many hours in the day as we want to. But when the big hunts are coming up, I mean, I'll actually turn it on a little harder. Whether it's hunting, 2, 3, 4 hours at night, or I'll actually get up earlier in the morning and I'll actually start running during the night and over into the morning if I need to. I try to put up just a few more miles on the dogs upcoming, just to kind of get the stamina, where I think it needs to be, and then I like to let them rest. Once I feel they're ready, I like to let them rest for a couple of days, at least 2 to 3 days before before that hunt, just to rest back up and heal any wounds that they may have from running in these rough conditions down here.
Well, as you've been out there competing, who's maybe one of your favorite judges? Somebody that you think's really good, and maybe tell us who they are and why you like them and their style of judging.
I'd say one of the judges that has caught my eye is Nick Epps. He's from Vernon Hill, Virginia. He's a part of the Lick Skillet People Club up there at Alan Newby's club. I like the way he judges. He all around he's fair. He's not. Obviously, everybody goes out there to win, but he's concentrating on the dogs. He don't care about who the handler is or anything other than what those dogs are doing and what they should or should not be doing. He's looking for it. And as far as getting in there to make sure we can score lines or we can get our checks picked up, I mean, he does everything he needs to do in an orderly fashion to get that done. And I really appreciate the way he judges. And I mean, I've run across some bad judges that I'm like, man, I really hope I never have to draw it with them again and they got the card. But those are really more far and few between than what they used to be back in the day. I really feel like the sport has took a 180 turn for the better from where it was when I got out of it.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't really run across many judges now that are more out to they're more out to get you than they are to let the dog do the do the work.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot more good judges out there than bad ones, for sure. Maybe it hasn't always been that way, but my feeling is that there's the quality of judge, and I also think the quality of dog has gotten a lot better too. But
I absolutely agree with that because years ago when I was young and I'm like, man, these dogs are so fast, and now the caliber of dogs that everybody's running now, not just me or Jeff, but I mean, anybody across the sport is running now. You look at it and you're like, man, the dogs we thought back then, 20 years ago was so fast. They look like walkie-talkie dogs beside the caliber of dogs we're running now.
Yeah. I get in this conversation with other guys too a lot, and I switched over from coon hunting. I don't know, some number of years ago, maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And even in that period, and that's not very long, 10, 12 years, I swear I could go into a clubhouse and tell you kind of who was going to win the cast after they were drawing the cast. Yep. Today, I would really struggle with that because everybody's got a good dog. I mean, it's no shade on the guys back then, 10 to 12 years ago, but boy, I just think overall the quality is improved, at least around where I live.
I absolutely agree with that because it is. I don't know if we've got better at breeding dogs or if the lines have just gotten the bloodlines have just gotten stronger and the genetics are they're starting to come out more and more. But the dogs that we're running now, I mean it doesn't hold a candle to the dogs we ran then. But what's funny is the dogs we ran then, they done everything we needed them to, everything we asked of those dogs to do. They done it. They were consistent, and we still won hunts back then. But now, if you would put those dogs up against the dogs we're running now, it's a night and day difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, I asked you about a good judge. Let me ask you, what's the nicest thing that anybody's ever done for you while you've been out on a hunt?
I'd say probably the nicest thing that's ever happened is I've been stuck in the briars, which I'm sure everybody that's ever rabbit hunted can contest to this story. You get stuck in the briars, you're trying to call your dog, and you see the dog, and next thing you know, you start hollering for it, and it turns and it runs the other way. And then there you are, you're in the middle of the briar thicket, crawling on your hands and knees, and there is no better sound than to hear somebody holler, "Hey, I got your dog,"
Mm-hmm.
and you can just breathe that sigh of relief and turn around and crawl back out and not have to push deeper into that that thicket of briars that
Mm-hmm.
you just dreading to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. That is very nice. Is is as you're out there, I think it's kind of natural to form rivalries, and there's probably some that are friendly, some that maybe aren't as friendly. But do you have somebody out there that you just like to beat just a little bit more than everybody else?
Uh, so that's a trick question there. I've actually got two people,
All right.
and I'd like to talk about both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say my number one, just because I love her to death and I'd do anything for her, and I know she knows that. Kristen Bundy. That is, I love hunting with Kristen because it is always a fun hunt, no matter how the running is. Because me and her, we talk crap back and forth to each other the whole hunt. And it's fun. I love beating her, and I don't tell her I said this, but I really don't like it when she beats me. I'd say the other person that I like to beat, and it ain't really about beating. I really enjoy drawing out on the cast with them. Is Davis Hughes.
Mm.
Uh, and that's because the whole time we're out there, we're picking and playing, and I wouldn't really call it arguing, but we talk smack back and forth the whole entire hunt. And at the end of the day, it's always a fun hunt. But I beat him and he's beat me, but I like beating him just a little bit more than I think he likes beating me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those are good ones right there. They'd probably be on my list too. Don, I'm going to change it up just a little bit because I feel like people probably know you and know about your love of your hounds and maybe the hounds you've been competing with. But tell us something about yourself that most people don't know.
Uh, well, when I'm not at a competition hunt or I'm not gun hunting, 9 out of 10 chances I'm gonna be on a softball field with my daughter. My daughter's 13 and she plays travel softball. So when we're not competition hunting or traveling for dogs, we're normally somewhere in the United States at a travel ball field watching her play ball.
That's a
So
good
it
one.
doesn't matter. It don't matter what weekend it is. I'm full about every weekend through the year, either with dogs or her playing ball year round.
That's a good one. You see people kind of come in and out of hunting over the years, and it's pretty common to see people kind of disappear for a few years, and I think it's around that time frame that their kids are getting into ball. Whether and a lot of it's travel ball. It competes and takes a lot of time. But yeah, that's a good one. I'm glad to hear you're doing that. And you've competition hunted long enough now, and certainly at the highest levels, to see the rules and be familiar with the rules. If you could add or subtract or change any rule, what would it be?
The rule that I would change is that you can't run a shocking and tracking collar on the dog during the hunt and hold your garment or your dog trail. I think that is the craziest thing ever. Nobody out here that runs dogs or runs hounds or any type of dog period is running that dog other than in a competition hunt without a shock collar on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we just don't do it. I mean, because there's so many variables. They can get near a road. I mean, there's so many different things that shock collar would come in handy for, other than for a hard-headed hound that don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
The roads. I mean, going on other people's property, anything like that. I mean, it's just that would be the one rule I change is that you could run a shock and track collar on your dog every cast.
Mm-hmm.
Even if even if you had to give, your handheld to the judge and him hold it, that would be fine too. Just the peace of mind knowing that if I needed to, I can quickly get get to my handheld to possibly save my dog, other than, we're 400 yards from the truck, but I have my shot stick at the truck, so I have to try to make it 400 yards to the truck before my dog makes it to whatever danger he's approaching.
I think that one will get changed eventually. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, but there's just too many people. I think if you conducted a poll of all of the people that are competing, I don't even think it would be that close on how they would like to see it.
I don't either.
I think it would be very much in your favor of what you're promoting. I really, I don't know. Who knows why it's taking so long, but I do think that'll change, or at least I hope so, because I think most people agree with you. Well, let me ask you this. You're down there in South Carolina, and you've gone around the country competing in these things. Do you have a favorite part of the country that you like to hunt in?
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why. Some people may think I'm crazy. I personally love hunting in Tennessee, and particularly Doe Valley Beagle Club. They run, so the way they're running up there is honestly different than anybody's or any other place I've ever been. They have thickets, they have briars, but they run in Christmas tree farms. And I don't know why. It's always fun to run in those Christmas tree farms, because I've seen rabbits do some of the strangest things I've ever seen. I've watched dogs run them. They come across, we call a line, and I watched the rabbit jump into the Christmas tree, 2 foot off the ground, and the dogs blow straight by it, have no idea where it went, because it's sitting in the middle of a Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy running up there.
Oh,
the only place I don't enjoy running in Tennessee, and they call it the mountain. And it has its name for a reason. I hate going up that thing.
That's a good choice. That's a very good choice. Dalton, share a favorite hunting memory.
Oh, man, that's hard. I have so many memories hunting. I might have to think about that one there for a second. I got one. We were gun hunting. This has been years ago. Actually, with Bobby. I think me and Bobby were hunting. Just me and him were hunting that day, and we were hunting down in McBee, South Carolina. It's a lot of sand down there. Sand and briars is all it is. And we've been hunting all morning. Jumped a few rabbits, killed a few rabbits, and the dogs jumped one, and we actually got to watch them run into the bed of basically into the rabbit's bed, and that rabbit probably jumped up, a foot straight off the ground and took off. Ended up being a big swamp rabbit. I was maybe 13 and real trigger happy. And as soon as that rabbit jumped up, I turned and tried to shoot it. And I'll never forget it. Bobby Collins, we had walkie-talkies. He scolded me over that walkie-talkie to the point that I really didn't know if I wanted to put another shell in my gun and shoot for the rest of the day after I got that scolding about we don't shoot rabbits off the jump.
Oh, that was a good lesson. That was a good one. Well, tell me, I know that anybody who spends that kind of time in the woods, and I know you said you coon hunted some too, maybe some other kinds of hunting, you're bound to see something crazy at some point. Tell us about maybe one of the craziest things you've ever seen while you've been out hunting.
Well, this would actually, this would have been a coon. We were coon hunting one night, and the craziest thing I've ever seen is watching a dog catch a coon on the ground and having to stand there, and decide, or not even decide, how to figure out how in the world am I going to get this coon off of this dog, and how in the world am I going to get this dog off of this coon. I had trained a dog. His name was Tree Shaking Blitz. He's actually done pretty good in UKC as well. I ended up selling him. But he was about 6.5, 7 months old, and he caught his first wild coon on the ground on the game land. And man, when I tell you, it was pretty rough, and there was no way I could get in there to him, in the time it took to get them broke apart. And he ended up catching it and killing it on the ground. But that is, you don't see that a lot. There's not many dogs that catch coons on the ground. Most of the time they tree. But he's caught a couple on the ground, and he's actually bait up about a 400-pound boar hog. So he's a different breed. He was a different breed of coonhound
Gritty.
that I've ever seen.
That's
Gritty as they come.
That's a gritty dog. Oh. Well, if you were giving me advice, I was going to Vegas and put my money on a dog to win the world hunt this year. Who's got the hottest dog in the country right now?
Everybody. I think everybody that's anybody that hunts a dog, they think their dog's the hottest dog. It's just human nature, I feel like my dog's the best. I'm sure you feel like your dog's the best, and anybody out here in this competition world feels like their dog is, the best dog around. I don't really know how to answer that question, honestly. There's so many good dogs that I've seen, over the course of the year. That's really an open-ended question as far as trying to pick one dog. I mean, there's so many dogs of a high caliber. One dog that I hunted against at the Nationals, though, that really stuck out to me is Jacob Coon's dog, Hide and Holler Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
I hunted against him Friday morning in the Grins, and I really liked the way that dog hunted, and I've actually watched that dog very closely all year, and I'm not going to say he'd go out there and win it, but I definitely think he's got just as good a shot as anybody's.
Mm-hmm. That's a good choice. I've been fortunate to hunt with some of those hide holler dogs and Jacob and good dogs, and I noticed that Nemo's winning in multiple registries. I don't know what all they're hunting him in, but I've seen him pop up in a couple different registries campaign, and I'm pretty sure it's Nemo, and that's a nice dog. So I think I know how you're going to answer this one because it kind of rolls into what you just said. But when you go to a competition hunt, do you expect to win?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I figured that.
You can't. And I've told my daughter this, and this goes for any type of competition you're doing. It's not just dogs. It's anything you're doing. You have to go with the mindset and the confidence that either A, I'm going to give it everything I got, or B, we winning it all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's I pull up to every hunt, I want to win everything every cast I go on, I'm looking to win it. Does it happen that way? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Would I like it to happen that way? Absolutely.
Yes.
But I mean, I feel, me personally, I pull up to every hunt, I'm looking to win. I may not be looking to win the entire hunt, but I'm looking to at least win a cast. Like I'm looking for a cast win at every hunt I pull up to.
That's a good answer. Very honest answer. I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball and think about the future. What's going to be the biggest problem, biggest challenge that future hunters are going to face?
Overdevelopment of hunting land. I'm sure everybody sees that. It doesn't matter what part of the world, honestly, what part of the world you're in. We're overdeveloping all the hunting land, and soon enough, everything is going to be a housing development or it's going to be a concrete city. We're very fortunate. I've got a few private places. My buddy, well, actually, he's my best friend, Jeremiah Burris. I think you just done a podcast with him not long
Mm-hmm.
ago.
I sure did.
Me and him hunt together almost every weekend, and me and him gun hunt together. We both got some private places that we hunt, which we hunt a lot of game land too. We're in a couple hunting clubs, but I would say just overdevelopment is what's going to ruin this sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a common answer. That's probably the number one answer I get. I've got just a couple more questions for you. If you were to give advice to somebody that's thinking about getting into rabbit hunting, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would probably the number one advice I would give them is to get with someone that knows what they're doing. As far as not just how to buy a dog. Mm-hmm. Anybody can go out and buy a dog, but get with somebody that knows what it takes to make a dog. Because there's no better feeling than taking a dog from a puppy and watching that dog jump its first rabbit and watching that dog progress until it's what you're looking for in a dog. Mm-hmm. You have to know how to work the dogs in order to make the dogs work for you.
That's really good advice. And this is kind of one of my last questions here, but why do you do this? I mean, what is it about rabbit hunting that just keeps you going back and jumping in that briar patch?
It's funny because I ask myself that same question about every time I go to jump in that briar patch, honestly. I've run deer dogs, I've run coon dogs, I cut my teeth running rabbit dogs, obviously, as a kid. There's just something about it. I mean, hearing that pack of dogs jump a rabbit, and it's just the adrenaline and the excitement of hearing, but not only hearing, but when that rabbit crosses, you're watching, just anticipating the whole time. You're like, my favorite dog, he's going to be in front, and this dog's going to be here, and this dog's going to be here. And, sometimes it happens, and the plan, I think, when those dogs are coming out, I'm like, oh, I know this dog, and, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. But, sometimes it blows your mind, and the dog you think has no chance of being out front is way out front. So, I mean, it's just the adrenaline of watching those dogs work, hearing that race, and seeing that line and just watching them dogs work. Really, it's the working of the dogs for me. I just love working with dogs. It's most people fish, most people golf. Running and working dogs it's therapy to me, unless it's running puppies, and that's a whole nother story.
Yes, it is. Well, that's a good answer. Well, Dalton, as we wrap up, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have, or is there anything else that you want to cover or promote?
Only thing I'd like to cover that we didn't is, be on the lookout. Me and Jeremiah, we're heavily discussing starting a club back up in South Carolina. As our closest club is Jeff's up in Randolph County. So there is no club further down south other than Jeff. So we're in the midst of speaking pretty heavily about starting up a club again down here, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, that's exciting news. Anytime if there's another club opening up in this area, I think it's a good thing. But so is that the only one in South Carolina, or would it be the only one in South Carolina?
That would be the only club in South Carolina. Okay. As of right now, to my knowledge, there is no UKC Beagle Club in South Carolina.
I got you. Okay. Is that something that is a goal for next year, or I mean, I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get with Jeff and increasing a couple more times. I spoke to Jeff about it pretty much since I got back into it, about wanting to start the club back up down here, just because I cut my teeth in the club down here, and there's just something about having your home club Not necessarily home field advantage, but it's just it's nice to know that I'm able to give back to the clubs that I've gave a lot to and have gave a lot to me as far as, they hold hunts, they're preparing everybody's spot in the cast that, they're going to go here and they're going to go there. I would like to, open a club back to try to give back to all those people that have gave so much of their time and, everything to their clubs somewhere that they can go to and not really have the stress of, I got to do this and this and this and this, and I have to make sure all this is done. And they can pull up, hunt, and, we kind of take on the stress for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really good. I wish you the best on that. I know it's a process, and there's application process, and then you maybe have to host a hunt that's like a buddy hunt kind of thing and kind of go through the motions and stuff. I know there's a process to it, and it's pretty involved. I mean, they don't just let anybody have, or at least in this region, they don't just let anybody have a club that wants one. So you'll have to work for it, but I'm sure you'll do the work. It sounds like you're dedicated. You and Jeremiah will get it done, right?
We're going to try to.
Well, I wish you the best on that. I think it'd be terrific. Well, Dalton, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and I've learned a lot about you and your hounds and what you've been up to, and look forward to running into you at a hunt soon.
Absolutely, buddy.
Thanks, Dalton.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
Thank you for listening to Buff in the Rough. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to be notified when new content is available. And please send comments and suggestions to buffintherough@gmail.com.